All right, so this video is a walkthrough of the simple setup of a follow-up boss to Sisu sync using RealSynch and how that works and how the data is going to flow between the two systems. So I get into my RealSynch, and if you don't have an account yet, you just go to realsynch.com, sign up for an account. It'll let you in, and you'll come to this page where you can create a sync. So once again, you just start now, get signed up, come to this page, add a new sync. You're going to select follow-up boss as the source. Sisu is going to be the target. Then all I got to do is log into my follow-up boss here. So I have an API key that's in my admin settings that I can get up here from follow-up boss. I put in my Sisu key, which can be found under admin, team settings, and then there's a field here for API credentials. So that's how I can set up this sync. Once I have these both connected, I'll just hit next. There's really not a whole lot you got to do here. You just click the buttons, hit accept, and it'll be good to go. So once I have that all set up, I come into Sisu. Now the one thing to make sure of here is the email address that you use to log into Sisu and the email address that you use to log into Follow-Up Boss must match. That's how they know, that's how the systems know which users should be matched between the system. And kind of the advantage or the strategy behind all of this is you're trying to keep your agents in Follow-Up Boss as much as possible and then get reporting in context of their goals, you know, things like how many dials, how many conversations, how many appointments set, right into your Sisu. So if I'm here in Follow-Up Boss, I have a test lead that I've created. It doesn't matter what leads I'm calling on, I'm logged in. I go ahead and hit that I made a call here, and I'm going to log it. Come over into Sisu. You can see I'm at 1 right now. I hit refresh. Now I'm showing 2 conversations. So it's real time, it's really quick, and it's pulling that data over. You also notice that it's logging my dials down here. If I were to log a call and I said, test dial, and I'm going to say left a voicemail, it's gonna track that voicemail. When I hit refresh here, it's not going to give me credit for a conversation. It's just going to give me credit for a dial down here. So you can see that. Other things we're doing in here is, for example, a text message. So if I do a text here, and I'm going to send it just to this random number, testing, I'll send that text. And we will pull this up and we'll check text. And you can see that it increments that text counter. Now, if I get a response to that text message, it's going to give me credit for a conversation. Appointment set, pretty standard as well, just the same way that you would work out of Follow-Up Boss. I can put in an appointment. I'll call it test appointment, and I will set the time. I'm not going to send an email. So I created that appointment. And now you'll see in my appointment set down here that I get credit for having set that appointment. Now, where this goes even further, you want to start tracking things such as you know, your signed listings, your under contracts, your close. These are all things that are tracked in Sisu. Sometimes it depends on the way your deals are structured. So if you have different deals pipelines, in this case, I believe we're using the standard pipelines, under contract, offer, pending, close. So we're going to say that we created a buyer deal with this test. So we're going to call it Sisu test deal. It's a buyer. It's going under buyer contract, which in this case means you've signed a buyer broker and they're working with you as a buyer. We're going to say that the price, or the forecasted price in this case, we'll say $250,000. The commission. There are options in RealSynch whether you want this to be gross commission or commission paid to the agent. In most cases, it's going to be gross commission. We'll just say it's 3%. And we'll put in the close date or the forecasted close date in this case. So we're going to say, well, it's a buyer contract, so we'll just leave that blank for now, actually. And I have this deal. So now I've created this deal the way that this works is the polling runs every 5 minutes. So if I create this deal at 2:34, it will sync at 2:35. If I create at 2:36, it will sync at 2:40. So you're going to see here in just a minute that this buyer signed is going to increment to 1. So we'll give that just a second to update, and you can see now that that signed buyer has come over into Sisu, and it's pulled a lot of good data with it. So if I click on that number to actually peel back and say, okay, who is this person? You can see, okay, name, last name, the type, all of that's pulled over from Follow Up Boss. We've got transaction amount, agent paid income. I'll just click into this to get a little more clarity on it. We got notes, phone number, and the date that this transaction was signed, as well as lead source. So a lot of good data in here. Once again, you can't track both gross commission and agent income in Follow Up Boss. So that might be something that you're tracking in Sisu. You want to track how much this agent will make if this deal were to close, and we'll say that's 50%, right? So you can track your splits in here. You can go way deeper with that in the commission form. But that's how these deals come over. And as this deal progresses through the pipelines, so I'm going to move it from under contract to pending. I'll put that up here. Make sure it works. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to take my Sisu test deal. I'm going to pull it over here. I'll place it in pending. And now I'm going to see that updated here in Sisu. So if I refresh this, it will show not only that I have one buyer signed, but that I also now have a buyer under contract. And when I move that buyer through to close, it's going to show that I have a buyer closed. So that's how the deal syncing works. It's a true two-way integration. So if I'm working out here in Sisu and I change this transaction amount to 248, whatever that new number is, and I update it, that's going to go back and update that amount in Follow Up Boss, and you won't have to be entering things multiple times on each side. So that's how the Follow Up Boss sync works. Reach out if you have any questions. You can get in touch with the Sisu team anytime here through our chat box. We usually get back within just a few minutes.